Good morning, students. Welcome to the virtual classrooms. In the last lecture, we completed our chapter number 4. Today, we will be starting with the chapter number 5, that is a gaseous state. Chapter number 5, states of matter. Now, hearing the word states of matter, immediately everything comes in our mind that we are going to talk about solid, liquid, gas, right? Which you have already studied in the lower standard. But we are not going to study those things or those characteristics. But their properties are going to be involved in our study. Like you have studied in the lower standard that states of matter, we write it as an solid, liquid, gas. Solid means we know that where the intermolecular forces are maximum, they are come quite closer to one another. They are having a definite shapes, right? Therefore, the molecules are tightly bounded with one another. Whereas in the liquid, comparatively less, and the gas, there is a no intermolecular or the least intermolecular forces are there. They don't have any definite shape. They don't have any definite volume. They occupy the space in which they are being filled, right? But why these characteristics are different, or do these compounds behave similarly? For an example, why I am talking about it? If I take it H2O, what is it? In solid, we term it as ice. In liquid, we term it as water. In gas, we term this as an steam, that is water vapor. Right. Now, though the compounds are all the three are named as differently, but their formula is one and the same. So, will they behave, or will the characteristic of these compounds are identical? Then it is founded that the chemical properties of these compounds are same, but chemical reactivity is different. It depends on physical state of the compound. So, what does it shows? That when we are talking about the properties of H2O, then you can say that water, it's a fire extinguisher, right? We know it that it does not allow the fire to expand itself. Now, I want to go for the same property, that if I take it as an ice, where the fire is there, if I take an ice and put it on it, will it extinguish immediately the fire, or will the water will do that process faster, or will I go for the steam that will go? So for that case, you can see that if I spray a steam on a fire, will it extinguish it, the fire? No. The property is different. If I allow the water, it will be much faster. If I go it for the ice, it will be still comparatively slower than water, but faster than steam, right? So this shows that the physical state is going to be important for our chemical reactions or certain properties. So this was very important to study for the scientist. What are the physical states of the compound? In this chapter, we are going to study mainly about gaseous state. In this chapter, we are going to study more detail about the gaseous state. Something about liquid. We are not going to study the solid. Solid you will be having it in our next standard, that is in the 12th you will be having it as a solid state, a complete chapter to study over there. So this particular chapter we are going to study in a detail about gaseous state. Right? Now before we study this gaseous state, we told that the physical states are there with an effect of intermolecular forces or thermal energies. These two terms we want to first of all understand it. First of all we will understand intermolecular forces, then thermal energy, and then we will talk about the states of matter or what are the factors. Right? Now first of all, when we are talking about it, we will be going it for intermolecular forces. Now these intermolecular forces, what does it mean? Intermolecular forces are the forces of attraction or repulsion which are additional forces come to ionic intermolecular forces, or maybe the forces that are bonding the molecules together, that is known as covalent bond. Right? We studied it, ionic and covalent bond. Ionic bond, covalent bond, these are the forces which binds the atoms or molecules through electrons. They are binding through electrons. Ionic, it donates or gains electron and acquires the opposite charge on them, and then the forces are created. For covalent bond, they share the electron and they create a forces of attraction. Right? Now these are the particular forces. The ionic bond, we know that we term it as an electrostatic forces. Right? But these intermolecular forces are additional forces. Intermolecular forces are additional forces. Right? These additional forces, they are depending upon the type of molecules. These particular forces, this we majorly find it in a covalently bonded compounds. Right? These covalently bonded compounds, these are the additional forces, right, which we term them also as a van der Waals forces. Covalently bonded compounds, they are termed as van der Waals forces. We write them specifically, that is, in the covalently bonded compound, the additional force, in the covalently bonded compound, the additional force which we get it, we term them as an van der Waals forces. These van der Waals forces are of three types. Dispersion force, also termed as London forces, dipole forces, dipole induced dipole forces. Van der Waals forces are of three types. Dispersion force, which is also termed as London force, dipole force, dipole induced dipole force. Right? So we want to study about what are they or how they are generating the forces in the compounds. right? So we know it that the covalently bonded compounds, they are having it as an electron shared between them. But what are these forces, right? So first of all we will understand dispersion force, which was also termed as London force. Now, these particular forces, when are founded in atoms or molecules, in those atoms where you find out that they are electrically equally stabilized, right? That means they don't have any partially positive or partially negative charge. Founded in those atoms or molecules which are electrically symmetrical. They are found in those atoms or molecules which are electrically symmetrical. What does this means? No partially positive or partially negative charge. They don't have any partially positive or partially negative charge on them. But still, though these items are electrically symmetrical, still they produce certain charge on them for temporary moment, for a small duration. Not necessary that they will be completely always showing a positive or negative charge. A temporary moment, they become charged, and when they become such type of temporary moment, charge is produced on them. They produce certain forces of additional forces, that is known as dispersion forces. For example, if I want to show it, let's take it as an example that there is one atom with plus charge, right? It's an equally distributed throughout. There is another atom, it is also there with an equal distribution. So they are not charged, they are having it as in normal molecules. But when they come closer to one another, from an infinite distance, when they are coming closer to one another, this atom A gets certain charge. It gets disturbance in the charge, right? As a result, it becomes positive, and on one side, we won't write it, we will get it as a positive charge on one side. The electronic disturbance is there, right? Because of this, what will happen? This will immediately have an one side with a more charge, other side is with a deficiency of the charge. This deficiency of charge has to be overcome. To overcome it, what it will do? It will disturb the another molecule. It will also generate a charge. As a result, what happens? This will produce an additional force between the two different atoms. This force, which is generated over here, that is known as dispersion force or London force. Now, particularly when we are talking about this result is developed due to the instantaneous dipole that is produced, because of immediately the production of the dipole was there. And as we told that it depends upon the distance, then what is it? Interaction between the atoms is inversely proportional. to the sixth power of its distance between the atoms. That is 1 by r raised to 6. Right? It depends upon the distance at which these forces will be generated. This distance is given out inversely proportional to the distance between this. So this interaction is inversely proportional to 1 by 6th power of the radius. Right? So these are the weaker forces. They are the temporary momental forces that are generated in the compound. Right? Okay. That is a first type of force. The second one, we have it as an dipole-dipole interaction. The second force we are having, it is a dipole-dipole forces. These are the particular forces that are found in those compounds, those particular molecules which are already polar in nature. They are found in those molecules which are that is their atoms shows partially positive and negative charge on them. These particular forces, they show it as a partially positive or partially negative charge already on them. For example, if I want to go for it, for example, you can say that HCl, we know it that H is bonded with Cl. This electron is more shifted towards the chlorine. So it will have partially positive, partially negative charge on them. So this molecule, it's already charged. Now what will happen? This molecule has an H plus Cl minus, already as a charged. The electrons are more distributed towards the chlorine. So there is a deficiency for the hydrogen. Same thing is found in the other HCl molecule also, H plus Cl minus. So they generate forces between these charged molecules. Now they are already charged. This has not to produce. These are the permanent dipole charges. Right? They are the permanent. So forces will be always there. So such type of forces, they are termed as a dipole-dipole. These forces again disturb interaction between these molecules. Depends on state of matter. In solids, they are inversely proportional to 1 by R cube root of distance. That is R. Right? In solid, 1 by R cube. In gaseous state, in other molecules. Solid or gas, liquid, in other molecules. They are sixth power of their distance, right? Cube of the distance, right? Third power, not cube, root. Sorry, I wrote it something, third power of the distance, and here they depend upon the sixth power of the distance, right? So for specifically solid 1 by 3, for other 1 by 6 rule, right? Okay, these forces are, because they are permanently developed, they are stronger than London forces. They are more stronger, or more forces are there compared to that of London forces, right? So you can say that these are the stronger van der Waals forces compared to that of London forces, right? The third one that we are having, it is the third type we are having, it is a dipole induced dipole. Now first of all we will understand the word. Dipole means, already we know that they are partially positive or negative charged. Induced means because of the force of the other molecules, the neutral molecule also gets charged, then they are considered as an induced dipole. That means you can say that this is a combination of first and the second. First one was already charged, non-polar molecule. They were charged, they were induced the charge on them, right? Second one was already charged. So this is a combination of first and third. Second, dipole is this type of molecules we are having it. If I write it as an, this is already charged, this one is a neutral molecule. One is charged, one is already a neutral. Because of this, they get effective and they get converted into a charged molecule, and they create a force of attraction between them, right? So this shows that these are found in those molecules which are having one as a permanent dipole and the other one in which it can be introduced, right? So they are considered as dipole induced dipole forces, right? Again, their interaction also depends on the sixth power. That is 1 by r raised to 6. This is for all the molecules. So from this, what we can say, that dipole forces are strongest van der Waals forces, right? They are stronger compared to that of dipole induced dipole forces compared to that of London forces, right? Is it clear? These are the additional van der Waals forces. Actually, van der Waals forces are the weakest forces of all the forces of attraction that we are come across. Actually, we in our previous chapter you studied it about related to ionic bond, covalent bond, coordinate covalent bond, hydrogen bond. We are also having it as one term known as an metallic bond, and the van der Waals forces. 6 type of forces are there which binds the atoms or molecules together, right? Out of that, we know it that ionic covalent and coordinate covalent were on the basis of the electrons. Hydrogen bond, we studied it in our last lecture of the chapter number 4. Even the same thing is there in this chapter also, that these are the particularly hydrogen containing molecules which are bonded with highly electronegative atoms like nitrogen, oxygen or fluorine containing lone pair of electrons. They produce the hydrogen bond. In our that hydrogen bond, we also studied it that there are of two types, intermolecular and intramolecular hydrogen bond, right? But you can see that lecture, previous lecture again. And after that, the weakest one, that is van der Waals forces. And in the van der Waals forces also, the strength is going it like dipole is the strongest, then dipole induced, and then London forces. So the strength of the forces are to be to remember, right? Now this is what we studied it as an intermolecular forces which are responsible for the states of the molecules. The second factor is thermal energy, which we will study it in our next lecture. Thank you.